Hi again. This is the second part of notes out of 3. This is on the substitution method. In the last video, we talked about the equal values method, and sometimes that can be really similar to substitution method. So, the substitution method is a way to solve a system of 2 equations by taking some sort of equation that is set as y equals mx plus b and replacing the mx plus b part into the second equation where y is. So like I have a substitute because I'm not there. The sub stands in my place. You take me out and you put them in. That's exactly what we're doing here. So you can see that we've got our 2 equations. Step 1 says that at least one of them has to be in y equals mx plus b form. You need y by itself so that everything on the other side of the equation equals y so that it can actually replace a y. In this case, the first equation already does that, so I'm set to go. In part 2 is where we do the actual substitution, the replacement. So we had this equation of x plus y equals negative 32, and you can see that I boxed the y in the second equation and the mx. There's no b here. And I'm going to rewrite the second equation, x plus y equals negative 32, except where there was a y, I'm going to replace it with all of the mx plus b from the other equation. So y did equal 3x. So now I have x plus an alternate version of y, which is 3x, equals negative 32. Now we can solve our equation. Sorry, I've got a bit of a stuffy nose. I hope I'm not breathing too heavy. It's weird. But we've got our equation. We're going to combine like terms, do our solving. We find that x is equal to negative 8. That's step 3. A lot of these steps are actually really similar to the last method we learned. Now I'm going to again take this x value, plug it into either of the x's in either equation. I chose the first one, as I always do, because that's what I do. So x was negative 8. The equation was y equals 3x. So it's y equals 3 times x's value of negative 8. I've got negative 24. Oopsies, that's the wrong button. Alright, so we have solved for our x value and our y value. Negative 8 comma negative 24. Now, again, we're going to plug in both of those values to both equations. I'm going to rewrite both equations, replace the y's and x's with the numbers we found for y and x, and then we simplify to prove that those are true. In both cases they are. That means we've got the right answer and we're done. So this is substitution method, where you set one equation equal to y, then you take what y equals, plug it into the second equation where you see the y, then solve for x, then plug x back in to another equation, solve for y, you've got your pairs. Pause here, take a moment and write your summary. And now let's look at a couple problems. Alright, 1 and 2, pretty similar. 1 is actually the equal values method. So in a lot of ways, equal values, well, in every way, equal values method is the substitution method. So, first problem should be exactly like the work you were doing in the last video. In the second problem, we have one equation set as y equals, the other one is not. So I'm going to take this entire, I'm going to look at my second equation, start writing it. When I get to 6y, I know that's 6 multiplied to y. So I'm going to set up my multiplication parentheses, and then I'm going to write everything that y equals in the first equation. Negative x plus 4. Now I'm going to finish the rest of the equation I was writing. Now I'm going to have to do some distribution. That's a really common step in this type of solving. Once I find x, plug it back in for y, good to go. Problems 3 and 4 are calling on the last lesson. We have to first rearrange one equation so that it is in y equals mx plus b form. Now I can take that entire amount, plug it into this equation. I don't want to use the equation I started with because that's the same thing. So I'm taking my first equation in the rearranged form, plugging the 2x minus 3 in where the y was, and it is 4y. So I'm going to have to do distribution, parentheses, solve for x, plug it back in, and solve for y. Step 4, you're going to do that as well. I'm going to leave you to do the rearranging, and then we've got it. The same doc you looked at for the last notes has these answer keys on them, so check there, and then we will talk about any struggles. All right, keep it up, y'all. You're doing great. See you later.